It's copper hoarding time again. Two Sheds Gabby here. I've got another box to go through. If you watched my videos, you saw that I actually got a couple of silver coins this week. Woohoo! I do have two more boxes of halves coming if they show up after Christmas. So I will have two more boxes to end the year out looking for silver. But I'll keep these pennies coming in and keep stacking this copper away. Let's get started. This is the first roll, and they're starting to look like a lot of the percentage of them is newer. You know, I don't know if the whole box will be like that, but it could be. It could be. So we'll see what we get. I didn't have any. I saw some copper enders, but there was nothing on any of the ends that was worth noting. So I'm going to get started here, and if I start finding anything, I'll turn it back on. I'm in my ninth roll, and here is a Canadian. 1966. It's good to see something. $83, we'll weigh that guy. If you heard it, you probably heard that it was zinc. There's a copper. I am at the end of my 10th roll, and there's a 1945 Philly wheat penny, my first one. So I have one wheatie and one copper Canadian after 10 rolls. Not too good. It takes about 8.5, roughly, copper pennies per roll to get the 3 pounds that I shoot for each box. And after 10 rolls, I've hit it once. So it's looking like this ain't going to be a very good box. If the wheats stays true, that means I'll get 5 this box instead of the 10 that I like to look for. So, you know, they can't all be big winners, I guess. Talked to my friend in West Virginia yesterday, and he went through a box, and he got just under 4 pounds, like 13 wheat pennies, and a pretty good handful of copper pennies. I need to get back over to West Virginia and get me about 8 or 10 boxes, I believe. This is the 12th row, and I found the second wheat penny. That's a good thing. It looks, maybe it's, I don't know, it's a little worn. Maybe it's an old one. We'll see. Oh, yeah, 1925. 98 years old. Is that cool? Awfully close to 99 years old. Pretty neat. I thought it looked old. That's 2. Eight coppers besides the wheat penny. This 13th roll had 11 copper pennies in it. That's the best I've had so far this box. This one right here looks a little bit like one of them that I cleaned a couple weeks ago. It's a little dirty around the edges though. This is the 19th roll that I've opened in these pennies. And we have wheat penny number 3. 1941. Well, so far they've all been pretty old, at least. That's kind of cool. Just 3, but say. I've had a few rolls, you know, that's had 9 or more, none more than 11. So, still pretty far under, I'm pretty sure, for getting my 3 pounds. 83, let's weigh him, even though he looks like zinc. There's a gnarly one too. Yep. Oh, that's really bad. Golly. $59. I'd sure like to find a 59 wheat penny. This is my 20th roll, and I did come across a Canadian penny, but this one is not copper. 1999, and they stopped making those in 96. This is my 23rd roll, still in the first half, and I found a King George. That's fun. 1943. Cool beans. Sure like finding those. That's really neat. I need to make a list of the King Georges that I need for my book and have them written down somewhere so I don't have to pull the book out all the time. This is the last roll in the first half, and I found a 1991 Canadian copper penny. This is the 6-sided. I don't know why I said 6-sided. I mean 12-sided. I divide everything by 2. Other than that, I'm perfectly all right. So there's a few Canadians I found. A man and woman who had never met before were both married to other people, found themselves assigned to the same sleeping room on a transcontinental train. Though initially embarrassed and uneasy over sharing a room, they were both very tired and fell asleep quickly. He in the upper bunk and she in the lower. At 1 a.m., the man leaned over and gently woke the woman, asking, "Ma'am, I'm sorry to bother you, but would you be willing to reach into the closet to get me a second blanket? I'm awfully cold." "I have a better idea," she replied. "Just for tonight, let's pretend we're married." "Wow, that's a great idea," he exclaimed. "Good," she replied. "Get your own blanket." After a moment of silence, he farted. Months and months ago, I had a person write to me and said that I shook my camera just too much for their taste, and they said that they was going to quit watching because they just couldn't handle that. And I apologize to anybody that finds that offensive. I've wondered a few times if he's popped back in and said he's still doing that and left again. I believe that says 82, but I'll go ahead and weigh it. It's copper. Cool. It's the end of the 5th roll in the second half of these pennies, and this is the 4th wheat penny we found. 1948. None of them been in the 50s. They've all been older than that. It's a Philly. Very cool. If you recall, most of 2023 copper had been riding at under 2.5 cents in value. There's an 83. We'll weigh it per penny zinc. And then here about a month ago, copper went back up to where the point they were at 2.5 cents each in value, copper value per penny, and it's gone up again. It's just a little bit under 3 cents a piece now. The value, copper is slowly starting on the rise. And that was predicted. I've read several articles that said the end of 23. It really waited to the very last end of 2023, but it has gone up some more. And hey, the very next row we find wheat penny number 5. Very cool. 1940. Very nice. Philadelphia. So, are you reading articles and hearing about everybody saying that 2024, the crash is going to happen? The bubble is going to burst. You know, we've been riding for a long time with all the money being created by Washington to pay off debts, and the deficit is unbelievable. And lots of people think that 2024 is going to be the correction year. And you need to prepare for it. If it's true, it's going to be bad. Stock market is predicted to lose, I think I read 60 to 80%, at least for a while. The real estate will lose over 50%. So if property values plummet overnight, let's say 50%, and you don't have equity in your property that's over the price of your loan, then they call in your loan and they foreclose. That's what happened back in the 80s with farms, small farmers. Some agencies were out there telling these farmers, you need to invest in your farm, buy this new, way more efficient equipment that can yield so much better crops. And these farmers went out and bought huge pieces of equipment, and then lo and behold, property values dropped in half. And all these banks called in their loans and said, you don't have equity anymore in your property, we have to foreclose on your loans. And thousands of small farmers lost their farms because of that. And so if this happens to your home, just sadly, people are going to lose their homes. One person was comparing this to the Great Depression, and he said that this one's going to be called the Greater Depression. He said this will be the worst any of us have seen in our lifetime. And so I just say that to start reading articles and, what do you do in times of depression or extreme recession? Well, start making provisions. If it don't happen, you have stuck away food that you can just eat, whatever. But it's good to be prepared. After this roll, I have only 10 rolls left in this box. It's definitely not been the most productive box I've ever had, but that's all right. I'm still stacking some copper away and getting a few wheat pennies. Another collector, King George, that I'll put away. And so while we're talking about preparing for bad times that could happen, there's certainly not a guarantee. It certainly looks that way, but we don't know that for sure. And so you may say, well, is your hoarding pennies going to save you? Well, no, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying it's one thing. I'm putting away this commodity that I will have should things get really bad. I also have months worth of food and other things. I ain't going to go into a big list. Hey, there's another wheat penny. Cool. This one looks newer. It's in really good shape. Real nice. I'll guess this one's probably 50s. Yep, 1956D. It's a nice one. But this is a hobby that creates value. That's the main thing I'm saying. I spend my time each week enjoying this, stacking away. This penny right here is worth almost 3 cents today, and I'll save it away, and I think it's going to be worth more than 3 cents later. Let's say that you bowl, which I bowled for years. I enjoyed it, but if difficult times are coming, you just need to think about those things. You're probably spending $30 a week with your hobby, and every week at the end of the week, minus the gas that I spend, I have more value than the week that I started with my hobby. And that's all I'm trying to say about it. I'm not knocking anybody's hobbies. Just 5 rolls left after this one. One thing that I don't I don't have in place yet is water. What all am I going to do about water? I'm going to try to get started here in the next month or so, putting together some type of water catching system. I'm hoping I can do it without it costing a ton of money. I don't want to spend a fortune doing that. I'll just do the research and figure out what it's going to take. How do I cook my dry beans if I don't have water? One thing that would tickle me to death is if all this preparation that I'm doing, and there's a lot of people doing a lot more preparing than me, that's for sure. If it turns out it was for nothing, that somehow or another our deficit in this country got fixed and the bubble went away without people suffering and losing their livelihoods, it'd just be wonderful. But I think that I should make some attempts, make some preparation just in case it is bad. Well, I got 3 rolls left after this. I was hoping to get finished before I had to leave, but it's time for me to get out here. I've got to run to Bible study tonight, and I'll finish when I get back. There's another gnarly. $83. Zinc. Hold the fort. I'll be back. Well, I'm back from my Bible study, and this is the last roll. The other 2 that I went through after I got back didn't have any wheat or Canadian in it, but I did see this. Right there is a Canadian, so that's cool. Last roll, and we'll be done with this box. I'm just positive I didn't get 3 pounds, and so far I've only got 6 wheat pennies. That's maybe what I end with. 1989. One of the 6-sided there. Well, that's several Canadians in this box. So the big thing is, is it going to happen in 2024? This, I don't know if you call it a reset, but the bursting of the bubble, and golly, it's just a lot to think about. What do you do about it? Do you bother trying to prepare for anything, or I'd say if it's going to happen, it's good to be prepared. I don't think, if you prepare and nothing happens, I don't think it's the end of the world. There's lots of articles talking about prepping and what to be prepared for and what people think you should do. There's an 83. That one looks a little bit coppery. We'll weigh it. It's zinc too. And so I'll let those people, if anybody wants to ask me what I think about things, I'll be happy to answer it. I just am going to go into all the different aspects of prepping, but we've covered some on this channel. I don't talk about guns and stuff very much, but one of the things that they say you should do is have plenty of ammo. You know, I'm a big time believer in Second Amendment, and I have guns, and I have some ammo, but that's not the topic of my channel here. That's it. Got about 10 or 11 coppers in that row. And I think I ended up with 6 wheat pennies and about 4 copper Canadians. I did find 2 of the 09s, by the way. I didn't mention that before. Let me weigh the 82s. I got several there. And I'll see how much I got for today's copper. I'll add it to my boxes back there. I think it's only going to be a little over 2 pounds. I'm pretty sure. I'll get back with you. Well, it was closer than I thought it would be. It was 2 pounds and 14 ounces of copper. Pretty cool. I don't know if you care or not. There's 47 82s I had in the jar, and 14 of them were zinc. All the rest of them were copper. And that's pretty much par of how it is every time. So to me, it's worth the extra couple of minutes to just weigh them real fast. I didn't used to. I used to, all the 82s, I just threw aside. I just thought I would do it one day, and I've been weighing them ever since. I'm going to get these packaged up in my 1 pound packs, put them in my box there, and do it again next week. We'll see you guys. Thanks for coming along.